Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. It changed my computer. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're holding. Good morning, everybody. We're holding Friday. We're holding the sixth portion of the the sixth part in the portion of Vayakel. We're holding on chapter 37, verse number 17. Yasa Meneda, and he did the Meneda. Dov Tar, he made the Meneda pure gold. Miksha Asa Meneda, he made it out of hammered out one piece of gold. Yerecha v'kana gviyev v'kafterel. Its stem, a decorative gold goblets, its spheres, its flower pracheha, its flowers were all part of it. Mimenu hoyu, they were all part of it. Part of one piece of gold. Verse 18, Shisha kanam te'etzim, 6 branches extended diagonally from it in the two sides. Shloisha kanam mitzida echad, 3 of them from one side of the center stem. Shloisha kanam mitzida asheni, and the 3 branches on the second side of this stem. Shloisha givim mishugadim b'kana echad. There were 3 engraved goblets in as well as b'kana echad kafter v'ferach, together with a sphere and a flower. Shloisha givim, to the 3 branches, mishugadim b'kana echad, to each one that came out of the side of the center of the center branch. Kafter echad v'ferach echad kain l'sheish aknonim. Each one had a sphere like an apple. The Rashi said looked like an apple, a round apple, and from it came out the branch and a flower on the next branch. Same applied to the 6th branch that extended from the stem of the candelabra. Verse 20. And on this menorah were 3. The candelabra were 4 goblets. Mishukadim, that were, and its spheres. Kafterel farachel, they all had flowers and were engraved. Verse 21. And one sphere situated in the stem below the uppermost 2 branches extended from the stem itself. The 2 next to the 2 branches extended from the stems, and the 3rd sphere below the lowest 2 branches extended from the stem, serving the base point for all of the 6 branches extended from the menorah. All the spheres and all its branches and all its integral parts of it all came out of one piece of gold. Miksha achas, always came out of one piece of gold, singled one amount of gold. And then he made from it the lamps, 7 lamps, and the tongues, and machtesel, and its pans were zav tur, was pure gold. Kikar zav, it was, everything was made out of, all together, all the utensils, was 1 talent of pure gold. And then he made the incense altar out of acacia wood. Amarka, it was a square, 1 cubit its long. 1 cubit its depth. Masayim kamasi, 2 cubits its height. The corners of the mizbeach came out of the mizbeach itself. There were 4 corners, 4 horns like. Then he covered the entire mizbeach zav tur, out of gold, as gaga is kiraisav, its roof, its top as kiraisav, and all its vessels, saviv, protrusion. I'm sorry, the corners that came out, saviv as kainaisav. But Yasa Zerzav, he made a crown around this altar. Then he made 2 gold rings. Underneath its corners. Al shtei tzales, on 2 sides. Al shnei tzades lebatim avadim, they were rings, so that within the rings can go in the poles. Losses behem, so that this altar can be carried. Vayasa b'adei matzei shit, he made the poles out of gold, out of acacia wood. Vayitzaf v'yisav, and he covered it with gold. Vayasa Hashem mishal hakedesh, and then he made the sacred anointed oil and its pure incense offering. Tor Maser Keach was blended as a perfumer. And that completes the Chumash for today. We now start today the 36th chapter of Tanya. In the previous chapters, the Alter Rebbe began to explain why the observance of the practical mitzvahs is the ultimate purpose of the Torah and its spiritual service of God. This practical aspect is underscored by the inclusion of the verse, for this thing is very near to you. Ki karav elecha adavam miyot, b'fichach in your mouth, v'lvavcha in your heart, la'asei that you may do. He explained that the only mitzvahs observed through the action draws down the light of the Shekhinah upon one's animal soul. That's what he explained in the previous chapter. Rather than upon the divine soul alone, as do mitzvahs performed through thought and speech, is only affecting your godly soul. But if you want to affect your animal soul, your physical body, which is your animal soul, yourself, then you need to ultimately do the mitzvah and maisis. You need to do the action. Yet this does not answer one question satisfactorily. Why is the illumination of the body and the animal soul so important that those particular mitzvahs that accomplish this illumination should be considered one primary objective? Why is it so important? Alter Rebbe addresses this question in chapter 36. He explains that God's purpose in creation is that he might dwell in a dwelling place in the lower realms, specifically in this physical world. In this world of double and redoubled spiritual darkness, his Ein Sof life would radiate even more powerful than it does in the higher spiritual realms through man's transformation of darkness into light. In man's microcosm, the animal soul, the body are the lower realms. And therefore, Tachtoinim again. Sava Kodesh Baruch Hu Liyas Leidina B'Tachtoinim. The Eibush had a desire that he would dwell specifically in this lower world. Tachtoinim. So therefore, just like God wanted Dafka specifically, Tachtoinim, that he would dwell in the most lowest realms, which is this physical world, so too he wanted to dwell in the lowest realms of my body, which is my my actual physical body. Therefore, practical mitzvahs to draw the light down the Shekhinah upon them constitutes man's ultimate purpose. Furthermore, through the particular mitzvahs and through their elevating effect on the body and the animal soul, the material world entirely becomes a dwelling place for God. This, however, properly discussed in chapter 37. So we'll get to that in Me'et Hashem. But let's start chapter 36 of Tanya. Hine Medazois. It's a well-known statement. It's a well-known statement. Maimer Abiseinu Zachreinu Lavracha. The declaration our rabbis declared. Shetachlis Brias Ha'olam Hazeh. That the purpose of which this world was created. Who is the one reason? Shenasava Kodesh Baruch Hu Liyas Leidina B'Tachtoinim. That the Holy One, blessed be He, desired to have an abode in the lower realms. His desire that the essence of Ein Sof be revealed as it is within the veil or concealment amid the lower realms. Our sages used the word abode, bias. Liyas Leidina, Leidina is a bias. Abode, a dwelling place, to describe such revelation. Just as a man's home serves as an abode to his essence, so too the world intended to be God's home, an abode for God's essence. Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain, to phrase the lower realm, Tachtoinim, mentioned above. He shows that this refers specifically to our spirit's physical world. Explanation in brief. The term higher and lower realms do not denote degree of respective importance in the sight of God. There's no higher or lower, or closeness to Him. In God's eyes, all worlds, from the highest to the lowest, are equally insignificant. We already went through that already. All are equally remote of Him. On the other hand, He fills the lowest world just as He fills the highest worlds. Thus, the term higher and lower must be understood as a standard of comparison within the numerous worlds. They indicate to what degree godness is revealed. Again, this is the most important word. It's the concept of revelation in each individual world. The more revelation, the higher the world. The more obscurity and the concealment, the lower. From this standpoint, our physical world is the very lowest. From here, godliness is the most veiled and concealed. So that's the whole concept of lower and higher, because in spirituality, the God is no concept of lower and higher. It's the concept of revelation to the world. So let's do it in the Tanya. But surely the God, in His sight, there's no distinction between higher and lower. It's invalid. It's not a word that you can use by God, higher or lower. Because God, by God, everything is equal. It's all equal. What then does our sages say? God desired abode in the lower realms. What is the meaning of that statement? There's no concept of higher and lower. What's the meaning of the statement? Sava Kadosh Baruch Hu, God a desire to dwell in this lower world. There's no higher and lower. To explain the matter, however, that God desired an abode in the realm of the lower, within the ranks of the world, as follows. Before the world was created, there was only He alone, and one and unique. There was nothing. There was nothing in the world. There was nothing but God. He filled the entire space of this world. There was no world but God. Anything that could be conceived as a space or possibility for creation was filled with Ein Sof. It was infinity. The world was infinite. It was God. The truth is, it hasn't changed. That's the statement. There's no difference. By God, it hasn't changed. Nothing really has changed by God. V'gamata came. And the truth is, in His view, by God, indeed, it's still the same. God, this world is God. The fun is but a creation with no change in His unity. He is one alone now, just as prior to creation. There's nothing but God. So, what is the world? This is again a deep concept of Chassidus, and something that we have to explain this in many different ways that a human being to understand this concept. The whole concept of change applies only to the recipient of His vivifying force and His light. Before creation, there was none to receive the divine force and light. Creation brought about the being of a recipient. There's now a recipient. There's a mashpia and a makabel. There's a giver and there's a taker. And that's why the next word is shemekablim, the receivers, the makabel, the receiver of this life and life, by the numerous levushim, by the numerous garments which veil and conceal God's light. Mastira, which that's the whole concept of contraction. The contraction gave the capability for receivers. And the question is how much contraction to how much to reception. For without such garment, they could not bear the intensity and would cease to exist. As we say in the Torah, Ki lo yarani adam, for man cannot see me v'choy, and live. If there's revelation, too great revelation to a human being, he will cease to exist. He will be as before. He'll be as before existence. What was a human being before existence? God. That's it. So he will be exactly what he is. The world would be, not the world would chashom, that the world would cease to exist. The world would be God's existence. Because the world is now God's existence. But since God obscured his revelation, so therefore the world filled his own existence. So furthermore, not only man or physical being, but even spiritual beings, such as angels, are unable to receive divine life force without concealed garments. There's nothing in the world that is a created entity, whether it's physical or spiritual, that is not concealed. Every level of creation, that is the meaning of creation. There's the creator and the created. Any created thing is a concept of a Helen, as a concept of a concealment. There's something that is revealed, and there is something that is concealed for every aspect of creation. Even the most highest spiritual level of creation is a concealment. So that's we learn in Chassidus, that even if you want to go to the level of Atzilus, the world of emanation, there was a tzimtzum. There was a great tzimtzum before the world of emanation. As our rabbis of blessed memory interpret the word v'choy, and live, the verse as referring to angels, thus even angels are called chayos. Afilu malachim nikas chayos. Ein royin, they cannot see. Even angels, as we ask the angels, they say Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish. Even the angels, which in comparison to man are more spiritual than humans, but they don't see. We don't see, and they don't see. They see more than us, but they still don't see. So the godliness is except by the way of a garment which conceals him, thereby enable him to receive his light. The degree of concealment varies, however, from the world to world and from level to level. Here, the distinction between high and low becomes valid. So it's only in the concept of revelation where the concept makes sense of high and low. So we understand. Some people have let's take in wisdom, some people have a capacity for greater wisdom. Some people have a less capacity for greater wisdom. Everybody has a capacity to wisdom. Wisdom is not something that was given to one. Wisdom is for everybody. Everybody has Chochmah Bina Das. The question is, what's the capacity of your Chochmah Bina Das? How much capacity does one have for wisdom? A person knows to know his capacity, his capability. It's very important to know your capability of the revelation of your own wisdom. You might overdo it and you'll have a chas v'shalom, a nervous breakdown. So therefore, be very careful with your own capacity. But wisdom is wisdom. Wisdom is not an exclusive thing. The wisdom of the Torah, for sure, is not exclusive to a specific group or to a specific person. It's for everybody. Question is, how much wisdom are you be able to handle? What's your capacity? And that's why you listen to Tanya. The Alter Rebbe always demands every person to his capacity, to his capability. Nobody's asking you to be somebody else, because you have to reveal your own self. And that's why it says, Ein Dei Shem, two people are not the same, because everybody has a different concept of mind capacity. Now you'll understand the concealment of the whole concept which brought in Kabbalah and Chassidus, the chain-like grade of downward succession. of the worlds. They descended from level to level. So Atzilus was a great revelation. Bria is still a great revelation, but diminished, greatly diminished in comparison to the world of Atzilus. Then came the world of Bria, which was a great diminishment again than the world of creation. And so on and so forth until it came the world of Asiya, the world of action. Through the many garments that conceal the light and the life force emanating from God. The more concealment, the lower the descent. Until ultimately this physical world was created, became chumrius, it became very gross, dense, harsh. God is chesed, and the world seemingly expresses harshness. The world is the lowest degree, which is no lower than it. In the concept of the double and redoubled darkness. The Rebbe would always say this expression of Tanya. This world is darkness and double darkness. And that's our obligation, to bring light in this darkness. A doubled and redoubled darkness. It's not just a darkness of a double dark. It's a double and a redouble. It's 4 times darker. Nowhere is God's light as hidden in this world. Until this world is filled with klippa, coverings upon coverings, and sitra achra, other sides, sheineged Hashem mamish, which go actually against God. Loima ani v'afsiyoid, that a person can say, and any things in the world can say, ani v'afsiyoid, I am, and there's nothing else besides me. It is thus clear that the term lower realm refers to this world, the very lowest degree of revelation. So we established that the concept of tachtonim is this world, because this world is the most physical world of all worlds. It's the only world that can say the statement ani v'afsiyoid, that I am and there's nothing else. I can understand the statement I am and God is. Maybe God's sometimes great, but I am and there's nothing else. That's this world. Chutzpah. Total chutzpah. Total concept of total negation of truth. Total negation of truth. That's this world. So since the order of Seder Shtalshus, the question arises, but since there's but one order of Seder Shtalshus, the question arises: does its ultimate purpose lie in the higher worlds, where godness is revealed to a greater degree, while the lower worlds serve only to emphasize the revelation found in the higher worlds in them, since light is distinguishable only where darkness exists? Or, on the contrary, does a purpose lie in the lower realm? But in order to create them, in order to say stops is necessary, it entails the creation of the higher realms. So what's more important? Is more important the higher realms of spirituality, or is it more important the lower realms? Obviously, the concealment of godness is not an end in itself. Thus, if we assume the second position, it follows that these lower realms were created so that the darkness pervading them be transformed to light. It depends what do you look better? What is more important to you? Some people think that the upper worlds is more important, the spiritual worlds are more important. And they think the whole world, or their whole existence, is the spiritual world. But you can take the second option, which Chassidus takes. And that is that the lower world, did a betachtonim, The lower worlds, the upper worlds were actually created for the lower worlds. Because the whole point is to transform darkness into light. The statement that God desired abode in the lower world shows that the latter positioned to be the true one. And the abode is built on the revelation of his presence in this lowest world, to the degree surpassing even the highest. This in brief is a subject of the following paragraph in the text. The purpose of this whole concept, the purpose of Seder Hishtalshlus, the purpose of this whole chain-like thing, that the Eibishter contracted himself and he created the world of Atzilus and all the angels in the world of Atzilus and all the souls of the world of Atzilus. Then he made another contraction. He created the world of Bria and all the angels of the world of Bria and all the souls of the world of Bria. And then he contracted himself and created the world of Bria, of Yetzirah, and all the angels of the world of Yetzirah and all the souls of that world. And then he created the world of Asiyah. It's still a spiritual world, and all the angels of the world of Asiyah, and all the souls, and all the concepts of that world. And then he came down to the world of Asiyah Mamash, the physical world. All of this purpose, all of these contractions, were all for one purpose, so that this world, that God would come in this world. That's the whole purpose. It was not for the higher world. To them, it's all a descent. To the world of Atzilus, it's a descent to come into the world of Bria. For the world of Bria, it's a descent to come into the world of Yetzirah. For the world of Yetzirah, it's a descent to come into the world of action. Even the spiritual world of action, it's a descent to come into the world to the real physical world. It's the greatest descent. So it's total negative. It's all to rebound. It's all for the rebound. It's all for the rebound of this world. It's all for what this world is going to do. If this world is going to rebound, if this world, this physical world, is going to come more spiritual, then its whole descent was worth it. If not, there's no value. The very word oilam in Hebrew denotes concealment. Helam, it comes from the word concealment. Thus, even the highest world constitutes, by the very existence, a descent from the rating level of godliness that preceded their creation. It is illogical then to say that revelation, which these higher worlds represent, is the purpose of the Hishtalshlus, since their revelation is actually concealment. The revelation, even the world of emanation, its revelation is concealed. Is a concealment. The only reason why it's revealed is because it's concealed. Atzilus came into existence, the revelation of the world of emanation, which is the highest world in this chain, is all a concealment of Ein Sof, is a concealment of the infinite light. So it is a concealment to begin with. The ultimate purpose of creation lies in revelation, not concealment. So where is revelation? It's only in this world. Revelation is only in this world. Rather, the purpose of Seder Hishtalshlus, the rebound, is the coming into this world and revealing itself. The revelation, it's all about revelation. Every other world is about concealment, is the way God hides himself. And in this world, the way God reveals himself. All the higher worlds are merely the steps of descent of divine creative power. In each of them, the light is veiled yet further, until it finally reduces to the minute degree of revelation that this physical world is capable of receiving. But this world is revelation. That's why the word is nesava, that God had a desire. A desire, when you say the word desire, The reason why the Gemara says the word desire. Desire is the essence of a person. This is the purpose of Seder Shtalshus. That means the Gemara says, the statement says, that the whole reason God created all the spiritual worlds was all for the ratzon, for the desire of revelation in this world. That means there's no purpose, really, in all the upper worlds but this world. So Atzilus was concealed that it should be able to be revealed in this world, in this physical world. Liasnachas ruach lefanav, the Eibishter in God's ratzon, in His desire, that He should have a nachas ruach, that He should have some pleasure, the sa'ava, taiva, pleasure. God created all the upper worlds and all the malachim and every spiritual entity of the upper worlds, that a Jew would transform one physical thing in this world. That a Jew would reveal one concept in this world. And darkness of Klippa transformed into light. Revelation. So that the place of darkness and Sitra Achra prevailing throughout the world, the Eir Ein Sof God will shine forth. Yes, it says, with a greater strength and intensity. And the superior quality of light that emerges from darkness. Meaning, when darkness is transformed into light, and the resulting light is superior to the ordinary light, it is thus shines with a greater intensity, with greater light than the lights of the upper worlds. Because the lights of the upper world is all darkness, while the light in this world is total light. Because all the lights that shines in the world of Atzilus, that shines in the world, all the worlds of Bri, Yitzin, Asiyah, the spiritual world is all concealed. All that light that shines is all a concealment. Hamastidim alidim Ein Sof, which hides, because God does not want to dissolve them out of existence. For were Ein Sof not screened by garments, the worlds could not bear it and would dissolve. Thus, the revelation wrought by subjugation of Klippa in this world is greater than the higher worlds. There, Eir Ein Sof is hidden. We're here in this world. It's revealed in all its strength. What a unbelievable! You have to simply learn this again many times to grasp what the Alter Rebbe wants to tell us here. The question arises, however, how is it possible, even upon the subjugate of Klippa and transformed into holiness, that we in this world should experience a revelation of Ein Sof? If the upper worlds cannot handle it, how do we handle it? Without a veil or concealment, how is it possible? You tell you, the Alter Rebbe is saying that there's a greater revelation in this world than the upper world. The upper worlds cannot handle that revelation, but this world could handle it. How is that possible? When even the higher worlds cannot receive such a revelation without dissolving into nothingness. How is it possible in this world? And here the Alter Rebbe gives us the answer. And he goes back to what we learned many times. And that's why we reveal God through a mitzvah. God gave us the tools of this revelation. God gave us the tools to reveal this concept. And that's the mitzvah. And this mitzvah is totally infused in godliness. It totally nullifies itself to godliness. And at the same moment, this mitzvah protects us for nullifying ourselves. And for that purpose, that's why the famous argument that Moses had, the Gemara Talmud says Moses had in heaven with the angels, should the Torah stay in heaven or should the Torah come to the world? And God says to Moshe Rabbeinu, answer them. And he answers them, do you have mitzvahs? Do you put on tefillin? Do you keep kosher? Do you steal? Do you have the capacity of stealing? Do you have a father or mother that you have to honor? Do you have these mitzvahs that you have to do? No, you don't. And since you don't have the essence of the Torah. You have the knowledge of the Torah, but you don't got the essence. You don't got the way God wants to reveal himself. And the mitzvahs give the capability of revelation. And that's the concept of Torah, Nikra, Oiz, V'koyach. Torah is called might and strength. For it gives us strength to receive that's a revelation without being overwhelmed by it. Maimed Abbeseinu Zachreinu Levracha, as our sage of blessed memory said, Shakadosh Baruch Hu Nesen Koyach Batzadikim, that the God gave a special strength to the righteous people to receive in their reward in the world to come. That they receive their reward in Gan Eden. What does that mean? What's the strength necessary? So that their existence should not be dissolved within the divine light that is revealed itself in the thereafter without any garments. So that Yidden, that's why it says Meleim mitzvahs keriman. Every Jew is full of mitzvahs like a riman. Because like a pomegranate, because every Jew is garmented that in Mitzvah Hashem, when Mashiach comes, will be able to see godliness without being nullified. That's why one of the reasons says that Moshe Rabbeinu is begging to come back to the world, because even though his neshama reaches up to the world of emanation, he's still in concealment. He feels concealed. He doesn't see the reality. He doesn't see the essence. He realizes the only way he's going to see the essence is when Mashiach comes. And he'll be back, Moshe Rabbeinu, in a physical body, and he'll see the essence. As it says, when Mashiach comes, what is the meaning of Mashiach? Is that the teacher will no longer hide from you. Meaning, not as some interpreted reverse, he will no longer withhold his reins. But following Rashi, he'll no longer conceal himself from you with the edge of a robe or a garment, kanaf. God will give you revelation of essence that you will be able to handle in the physical world. Or as the verse says, Ki ayin be'ayin yiru. Your eye will behold your teacher. I'm sorry, that your eyes will see your teacher. You'll see godliness in a physical being. U'kirsiv, as it's written, Ki ayin be'ayin yiru. It says when Mashiach comes, for they shall see eye to eye. Meaning that the human eye will see the divine eye. What sees as the divine eye sees. Meaning we will clearly see the revelation of God's light. U'kirsiv, as is written in the prophets, he says, when Mashiach comes, Lo yeh lecha oira shemesh lo yom. It's an interesting prophecy. It says that the sun shall no longer be the light of day. Ki yeh lecha oira ilam, because God will be your eternal light. It's an interesting verse. And what does it mean? The strength to receive this light will shine forth in the world to come without garments or concealment. Will derive from our present. We derive from our present study of Torah. The Alter Rebbe stated earlier, the purpose of the entire Seder Shalshos is the revelation of Ein Sof in this world, which occurs when darkness of Klippus in the world is transformed into holiness. So first of all, let's go back a second before we ask the question. So in essence, that right now, the only thing we can handle is the light of day. But when Mashiach comes, we'll have a much greater light. We'll have the light of God. But one may ask, this revelation will take place only thereafter. At the present time, what's happening right now? The Ein Sof is completely hidden. I put on tefillin, I learn Torah, I give tzedakah, I do all these mitzvahs. I don't see revelation. I'm not seeing this revelation. The Alter Rebbe replies that indeed Mashiach constitutes the purpose for which the world was created. So therefore, we should realize that we're not waiting to go to Gan Eden. We want Mashiach to come today, and we want to be there when Mashiach comes. Neshamas begufim. We don't want to have to go through any other stops in this journey. We want to be able to have the revelation right now. Begufim, that Mashiach should come, and that's why we pray for Mashiach every day, because we're looking for revelation. It's like we learned on Thursday that the Yidden built the Mishkan because they desired revelation. We also desire revelation. We're not looking for more than that. We were looking simply for revelation, because once revelation is revealed in the world, everything else will be transformed. It's known that the Messianic era, we know, the Rambam brings down in the laws of Mashiach, there's going to be two different steps in that coming. There's the Mashiach, the Messianic era. There is Mashiach actually coming, and then there's Tchias HaMesim, resurrection of the dead. So those two steps, the 12th principle and the 13th principle of Maimonides, the coming of Mashiach, and Tchias HaMesim, the resurrection of the dead, doesn't just bring an end to Jewish Golus. Does not just bring an end to sadness in the world, sickness in the world, hatred and the evil. That's an after effect. That's a sub-concept. What does it bring about? It brings about the completion of the whole reason of this world. That's the whole reason why God created the world. Sava HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We go back to this previous statement. The Sava HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God had a desire in a dwelling place in this world, and that's Mashiach. That is Mashiach. And Tachlis Shemus B'Yis Olam is the ultimate purpose of fulfillment of the creation of the world. For this, the purpose of its original creation, why it was created. It should be that Mashiach should come and elevate this world, and that the world, as humans, should be able to see godliness in this world. Like God, I dwell in the house. When I dwell in my house, I dwell to my essence, so too God dwell with his essence in this house. So at first glance, the statement appears to be strange. One would have thought that the Messianic era represents not the purpose of creation, but the reward of man's effort towards fulfillment of that purpose. The Rebbe therefore clarifies, and he says, the Kabbalah Schar, yes, there is a reward. There's a reward. The Eibush is not going to, the expression God makes sure to pay everybody for what he went through, and especially the Jewish nation, what they went through for the last 2,000 years of exile and more. So there is a reward part of the system. The time we're receiving the word, Kabbalah said, is in the 7th millennium. That's after that that you'll have tainug. It will bring about the concept of delight in all that we did. First will be revelation. Then there'll be tainug. Truth is that the Lubavitcher Rebbe felt that we are holding in Yemosha Mashiach. We are holding in the Messianic era. Mashiach hasn't yet come, but we're holding in the Messianic era. What does that mean? That we're holding at a time where we can bring Mashiach. We can hurry it up because it's Messiah. The world is struggling with this whole concept of truth and good and evil. It's a struggle within the world, as we see it openly, and the world is ultimately rectifying itself. Good will prevail. Truth will prevail. That's going to be the outcome. Truth will prevail because the world has no choice but to ultimately come. It's taking time, and people are being hurt in the process, but the world is fighting with this issue, and that's where we are in the Messianic era of the fighting of truth of light over darkness and truth over falsity, and therefore a Jew has now the chance to rush this thing quicker. Now we have the chance to actually bring it faster because the world is in its mode of transforming itself, rectifying itself, elevating itself. We can actually, as Jews, bring it to a closer pass. You see it openly that in this struggle, Jews are part of the struggle, and Israel is part of the struggle, even though it's not a Jewish struggle. It is a world struggle, but Jews, as we see, Jews are part of this struggle. They're the center of the struggle for some reason, that we have to, so to say, take on the mantle of the struggle, because we have to take on this mantle to revealing good in this world, revealing darkness over light, and for that is the whole concept of this world. That's the whole purpose of the world, the revelation of light, revelation, the concept of revelation, and we will be victorious. We will, no question about it, that we're going to be victorious. We're going to win this battle. We are going to reveal this world from its darkness, and we're going to merit to the response by God from that is the coming of Mashiach, where God will open up our eyes. God will open up our eyes, and we will be able to handle revelation, a revelation that no other world could have handled. Only this world, and in a human way, and as a human bodies, will be able to see this godly revelation. And that's the purpose of the whole concept of creation, and that's why we went through this whole Golus, and that's why we went through this whole situation, all for this revelation. And then come to the time where we'll not only have revelation, but we'll have that reward, that tainug, that delight in that revelation. And goodness will prevail. And that ends the Tanya for today. Today is the 21st day of the month of Adar. And the Tillim of the day is chapter 104 and 105. If you do those two chapters, you do the chitas of the day. The Rebbe writes in the Yom Yom of the day, number one, for the at Shabbos, for the 21st day of Adar. The term chassid is an ancient one that the sages have applied to Adam Arishan. It describes the perfection and the excellence in the intellect or in the motive character traits, or in both. However, in Chabad Chassidus doctrine, the appellation of chassid refers to one who recognizes his own essence, character. And he's standing in the knowledge and study of Torah, as well as in a situation of observing mitzvahs. He knows what he lacks, and he's concerned and takes pains to fulfill that void. He is diligent in obedience in the manner of accepting the yoke of heaven. So a chassid is a person who knows himself. He comprehends himself. He knows what he needs to fix. He knows how to fix it, and he does it. That's a chassid. That's number one. Number two is Tzemach Tzedek, third Lubavitch Rebbe, said in conclusion of the preceding narrative, my grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, is the Moshe Rabbeinu of Chassidus Chabad. Our sages say that the Torah was given to Moshe, but he acted generously, sharing it with all of Israel. Lamer, Moshe Rabbeinu kept no secrets. Whatever he received, he gave. That's why he was called Moshe Rabbeinu. He got the name Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher, because he was benevolent with what he received. Whatever he received, he gave. He didn't hide anything. He gave everything. The godly constant fire revealed to the teachings of Chabad Chassidus was given by the Maggid of Mezrich, to my grandfather, the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe received all his teachings, felt he received his teachings from the Maggid, which is received it from the Baal Shem Tov. My grandfather acted generously, and he gave it to anyone who occupies himself with the study of Chassidus. He gave it out, kept no secrets. He gave it out. He gave it totally with chesed. He gave it out. I am absolutely certain. Tzemach Tzedek, the third Lubavitch Rebbe, said, I'm absolutely certain that whoever teaches another and arouses in him that godly, constant fire is assured his reward. That this merit of his will never be extinguished. Give, when you teach somebody else, give it totally. Give it ba'ayin yafa. Don't give it abstract. Don't give it totally. Teach the Alter Rebbe's teaching totally. Like the Alter Rebbe gave his teaching, didn't hide anything. He gave it like Moshe Rabbeinu. He taught it. He gave it totally. Nothing abstract, nothing hidden. Gave it with kindness. What a beautiful Hayom too. God bless you all, my friends. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbos. I hope you continue to learn the Chitas on Shabbos. And Amir Shem, we'll see each other on Sunday. We'll see each other on Shabbos. I'm celebrating my birthday, actually, this Shabbos. This coming week, Chaf HaYadar, is my birthday. Today is actually my English again? Birthday. 21st of March is my English birthday. So I can give you all a blessing, that God should bless you all with all goodness and kindness, and He should give you all your heart's desire. I invite you all for praying on Shabbos, and the Mitzvah. We'll see you all on Sunday.